You guys, we have to talk about the Love Island reunion, because the chaos didn't just happen on stage, it actually started before the reunion even aired. The drama was already boiling over online, and by the time the episode finally dropped, viewers couldn't believe what went down. The biggest sparks flew between Huda, Shelly, and Olandria, and honestly, things got tense fast. But let's rewind a bit, because the past couple of days in the Love Island world have been nothing short of wild. First, Iris and Pepe, yes, one of the fan-favorite couples, suddenly unfollowed each other on social media. Then, out of nowhere, a post began circulating accusing Pepe of possibly cheating in a hotel lobby. No one knows if it's true, but it's exactly the kind of rumor that sets the internet on fire. And as if that wasn't enough, the very next day, Amaya and Brian unfollowed each other too. Amaya even started reposting cryptic, sad quotes. Things like POV, the silence after accepting, and how it feels when you know you have to leave him alone. Fans immediately began connecting the dots, convinced something major had gone down. So basically, before we even saw a single second of the reunion, the cast had already delivered breakup drama, shady unfollows, and emotional posts. And that set the stage for what turned out to be one of the messiest reunions we've seen yet. Love Island drama is only getting messier. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next jaw-dropping twist. Leading up to the reunion, we already knew the energy was going to be tense. Why? Because Shelly and Olandria had unfollowed Huda on Instagram before cameras even started rolling, and fans were quick to notice. Not long after, Teen Vogue dropped an interview featuring some of the Islanders, and viewers quickly pieced together that it had been filmed the very next day after Huda's Call Her Daddy episode went live. That was the same episode where she spoke openly about feeling bullied inside the villa. So when Shelly and Olandria hit that unfollow button the next day, at the exact time this interview was recorded, fans instantly caught on. The comments section blew up with speculation. People were literally writing, "You can cut the tension in this interview with a knife." Just hours before the reunion itself aired, Vanity Fair published another sit-down recorded that same day. And let me tell you, it was awkward. At one point, Huda was asked if she was nervous to see anyone at the reunion. She simply said no, and that answer alone was enough to stir drama. That's when Ace jumped in, throwing shade without naming names. He claimed that some people stayed quiet in the villa, but now that they're outside, suddenly they've found their voices. Fans immediately took it as a subtle dig at Huda for speaking out in her Call Her Daddy interview.
I just hate the fact that, nobody was standing on business while we was all there. And now that, people are outside the villa, now they feel like they have the confidence to talk. And for me, that's scary, in my opinion. I don't see that as standing on business.
Wait, what?
I feel like outside the villa, for people to feel like they can stand on business now, and then being back at the villa, nobody was standing on business, so.
I was. Can you give an example?
Don't worry, we got the reunion, since everybody feels confident there.
Everything I said in the villa, just wasn't shown on TV.
Understood.
The tension in that moment was so thick, you could feel it through the screen. It set the perfect stage for what was about to happen at the reunion itself, because everyone was waiting to see whether these simmering feuds would explode once they were finally face to face. Leading up to the reunion, we already knew the energy was going to be tense. Why? Because Shelly and Olandria had unfollowed Huda on Instagram before cameras even started rolling, and fans were quick to notice. Not long after, Teen Vogue dropped an interview featuring some of the Islanders, and viewers quickly pieced together that it had been filmed the very next day after Huda's Call Her Daddy episode went live. That was the same episode where she spoke openly about feeling bullied inside the villa. So when Shelly and Olandria hit that unfollow button the next day, at the exact time this interview was recorded, fans instantly caught on. The comments section blew up with speculation. People were literally writing, "You can cut the tension in this interview with a knife." And just hours before the reunion itself aired, Vanity Fair published another sit-down recorded that same day, and let me tell you, it was awkward. At one point, Huda was asked if she was nervous to see anyone at the reunion. She simply said no, and that answer alone was enough to stir drama. That's when Ace jumped in, throwing shade without naming names. He claimed that some people stayed quiet in the villa, but now that they're outside, suddenly they've found their voices. Fans immediately took it as a subtle dig at Huda for speaking out in her Call Her Daddy interview.
When we did the placements in the first place, it was an agreement through the villa of who was placed where. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm just gonna stay here. It was like, no, we agree you should be there, et cetera, et cetera. So the difference between what we were agreeing versus America, I mean, now as we've come out the villa, we see that things that are being shown was not what we experienced.
The tension in that moment was so thick, you could feel it through the screen. It set the perfect stage for what was about to happen at the reunion itself, because everyone was waiting to see whether these simmering feuds would explode once they were finally face to face. Now, while Ace was throwing shade, the awkwardness didn't stop there. Vanity Fair kept pressing, and when the Islanders started talking about the infamous ranking challenge, things got even more uncomfortable. This was the challenge where America had to rank the Islanders, and Shelley ended up placing last in almost everything. Instead of taking the results, Shelley defended herself, saying the villa had agreed on placements as a group, and that's why she put herself higher than America's results. But here's the thing, as she was explaining all this, viewers were quick to notice Huda's face. Her expression said it all. Like she wasn't buying Shelley's explanation one bit. It was a moment of unspoken tension that set social media on fire.
Even when I would ask them, the people who would put me last, can you please name an example of a time where it was never stated? So I think it was just a messy, weird.
My parlay was on Amaya being one. Let me make that clear. Before. Did I not?
Yeah, you got that.
And then Ace suddenly claimed that he had wanted Amaya ranked #1 all along. The problem? In the episode that actually aired, Ace seemed shocked when Amaya was #1. So fans were left asking, was he rewriting history here? Or was this just clever editing from producers to stir the pot? Either way, it didn't sit right.
What are you doing down there?
From there, the whole vibe felt messy. Conflicting stories, half-truths, and a lot of nervous laughter. It was clear everyone was holding back just enough to avoid saying too much, but also dropping enough shade to keep the drama alive. And all of this happened before the reunion had even properly begun, which made fans absolutely sure the actual episode was going to be chaotic. When the reunion finally aired, it was obvious from the start. This wasn't going to be a calm, catching-up special. The energy was heavy, and every single Islander walked in knowing the drama was about to spill. The first shocker, nobody was officially boyfriend and girlfriend yet. The couples that fans thought were solid, like Iris and Pepe, looked super awkward when asked about their relationship status, and looking back now, it makes sense, because we've since learned they aren't even together anymore. Then came Brian, who had to answer for those viral clips of him in the club pouring shots into random girls' mouths. He admitted it was a lapse in judgment, but honestly, his explanation didn't smooth things over, especially because fans already knew he and Amaya had unfollowed each other just before the reunion. So hearing him downplay it felt empty. And just when viewers thought it might calm down, Ace decided to stir things further. He called out Amaya for making fun of his height during her Call Her Daddy promo with Alex Cooper. Amaya claimed her team tried to take the video down, but Ace wasn't having it. He insisted it crossed the line into bullying, which set the stage for even more tension between them.
Olandria was like, really like, my man, my man, my man, and it was like...
Even to a point of delusion, I would say. Yeah.
I was just like, long. I just couldn't even understand it. I couldn't even understand. I couldn't even.
The producers, of course, knew exactly what they were doing, because right after that, Jeremiah got his moment. He was tired of being labeled a love bomber and wanted to set the record straight. Ace jumped in to defend himself too, saying he wasn't some puppet master running the villa like people thought. But then the show dropped receipts. They rolled a clip from the night Jeremiah went home. Nick had been trying to defend him, saying his new connection with Andreina could work if he stayed. But Ace and Taylor pushed hard to send him packing. The edit made it clear. Ace had way more influence than he was willing to admit, and fans instantly noticed the contradiction. Meanwhile, Jeremiah didn't hold back. He clapped back at the idea that he was only focused on followers or money, denying Ace's claims that he wasn't there for love. And as this was happening, you could feel the cracks forming between them all over again. It was less of a reunion and more like reopening old wounds in front of a live audience. And just when you thought it couldn't get more chaotic, the producers pulled out more unseen clips. They replayed the girls' decision to send Hannah home, showing Shelley openly admitting she quickly connected with Pepe and Charlie, while Iris and Amaya still deserved chances at love. The shocking part? The footage also revealed that America's votes had lined up, meaning Hannah and Jeremiah would have gone home regardless. But for fans, it wasn't about who left. It was about watching the Islanders turn on each other in real time. By this point, social media was already blowing up, with fans saying the reunion felt less like closure and more like fuel for new feuds. And honestly, they weren't wrong. The reunion wasn't done turning up the heat yet. The producers knew fans wanted receipts. And oh my god, they delivered. They rolled the infamous heart rate challenge in full, showing Huda licking Ace up his torso and then shaking her butt in his face. The room went silent, except for Shelley, who was clearly not okay watching it again. Huda admitted, yeah, I did too much, but insisted she had told Shelley beforehand she'd pick Chris and do it for both of them. Still, fans weren't convinced, and honestly, seeing Ace lean into it, even pulling her closer, made it hard not to place blame on him too.
But I love Huda, and she was one of the only girls. Some of the girls in the villa I didn't even meet because they didn't want to like talk to me or like really approach me because like cost a girl, you know. But Huda was one that really approached me and like looked at me, wanted to get to know me, and talked about like meeting me on the outside. She was really, really nice.
The replay didn't settle things. It only made them messier. Shelley claimed the footage wasn't even the full story, but at that point, nobody cared. Viewers were eating up the tension, and social media was exploding with clips before the episode had even ended. As if that wasn't enough, Huda's personal life got dragged into the spotlight. She'd been spotted with Louis from Perfect Match. They'd been on red carpets, streams, even posting pictures together. So naturally, the host asked her about it, but her answer shocked everyone. She said she was legally not allowed to talk about it because of Netflix contracts. The villa erupted with side eyes. Ace and Shelley looked shook at the idea that Huda was already with someone new.
She posted this on her TikTok story saying, "I prefer to share details about my relationship on my own terms, not for a TV show it has nothing to do with. Repeated pressure to open up, especially when it's excessive, makes me uncomfortable, and I'd appreciate if that could be respected. But you'll edit out the amount of times you asked and tried making others answer for me."
Fans at home were split. Some said it proved she was moving on too fast. Others thought it was none of their business. Either way, it fueled the fire, and her silence made people even hungrier for answers. Just when it seemed like the reunion was winding down, it hit the most emotional point yet. Shelley and Olandria said they were hurt by the hate they faced after leaving the villa. Racist comments, bullying, full-on harassment. They claimed they begged Huda to post something telling fans to back off, but she never did. Instead, they said, she went on Call Her Daddy and doubled down with her bullied in the villa story, which only fueled more hate. That, they said, was why they unfollowed her. Huda fired back, saying she only realized how bad it was once she saw the episodes herself. She admitted certain clips made her feel like she was bullied, but she denied ever trying to cause extra hate. The reunion ended with no resolution, just more tension, more shade, and fans picking sides online. It wasn't closure. It was gasoline on a fire that was already out of control. That's it for today's breakdown. But trust me, the Love Island chaos is far from over. If you don't want to miss the next twist, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay locked in.